I was trying to keep my cool. Like, how do you do it?
How do you do it?
How do you do
an interview with Stevie Wonder?
How do you do an interview? Look, I gotta stop and pause for the calls because I'm fanboying a little bit, and we're gonna add this. I gotta add this in. This is live. This is at Namm. I'm trying to interview Percy Bady and Richard Gibbs, and Stevie Wonder comes by the booth. Yo, what's up, everybody? You know who it is. It's your man, 100 Grand, John Mike, and we're doing a very special Hangout Podcast today here at the Warm Audio booth here at Namm 2025, and I am out here with two very esteemed guests. Jaden Smith, Will Smith's son, said he was an icon living, but I think I'm in between two living icons for real. Jaden's, Will's son, but you're Percy Bady and you're Richard Gibbs. I mean, two living legends. Y'all give it up for the two living legends in the room. These are the literal GOATs. I mean, Percy Bady, you know his work. If you've been following, if you're not, make sure you tap in and check him out. I mean, like, so much iconic work in both the gospel and in the secular world, right? Some of the stuff let them know some of the stuff that you worked on.
I got my start with Milton Brunson and the Thompson Community Singers many years ago. Yeah. But from there, it was the Winans, Phoebe and CeCe Winans, Marvin Sapp, Smokey Norfolk, Donnie McClurkin, Yolanda Adams, Colorado Mass, R. Kelly, Whitney Houston, Michael McDonald, and some more. And some more. Yeah.
So much. And then Dr. Gibbs, the Bishop Prelate, you still have done some pretty cases. So let them know what you your claim to fame and what you've been.
I started with my mom, gospel singer Inez Andrews, and worked with Milton Brunson, Thompson Community Singers, Pastor Shirley Caesar, William Brothers, Smokey. Most of the stuff Percy worked on, I worked on as well.
Y'all were Batman and Robin.
Worked on a lot together. And then I went on traveled with the Queen of Soul for 20 years as her accompanist. Worked with Jennifer Hudson, Glenn Jones, and a lot more.
Jesus. So you can see how I feel. I'm literally a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody. And these are the two somebodies I'm trying to tell them about. So what is that like? So you guys both, I want you guys to speak to that because y'all talked about all of that iconic work that y'all did with Milton Brunson in those days, in those times. What was that like? I mean, how did y'all get into that? What was those connections? Kind of tell me a little bit about those things. Whoever wants to go first.
And for me, Percy brought me on.
Okay.
I remember the phone call. He said he was a bass player. So I came in, I played bass, and what was it? Miracle Live was that album. And the following album I wasn't able to do, and Steve Huff became the bass player. So when I came back, thank God I could play two instruments. Yeah. So I ended up on organ. If that hadn't happened, I would have been in the Williams. But with Pastor Bronson, it was just a great experience, and just the music that Darius and Percy was writing was just always fresh. It was always cutting edge. It was always felt good. It was always challenging us, and it was the best experience for choir music ever for me.
Yeah, that's what we need to get back to. But no, I still want you to kind of tell your experience of how you got, because you were like you said, you were penning a lot of that stuff, a lot of the greatest hits that we still singing today, in some of our, and then set the framework and the groundwork for just gospel in general. So talk a little bit about that era.
Well, back in that era, there was a different kind of flow for us, because it was never about trying to be seen or heard. It was just really always just trying to be the best version that you could be. Yeah. Write a great song. Yeah. Trying to convey a message in a way that everybody would embrace it, rather than just, maybe just one little pocket of people. It was about really trying to create something that would last. Something that would be, universal, and this message but also something that also would last a long time. So getting when we started together, man, we really didn't know what we were doing. We had no clue.
Wow.
We just had a passion for music.
Yeah.
We loved each other, and because of that, when we came together, it sounded like that. It had a sound to it. And
so you guys weren't chasing trends or trying to...
No trends, because there were no trends.
Y'all were setting the trends.
We were setting trends. We didn't know it though.
Unknowing.
Yeah, we didn't know that's what we were doing. We were just trying to be the best version of ourselves, man, together, and it ended up being something that it resonated with other people.
Wow. I think that's so dope. I remember having a conversation once with amazing mastering engineer. I think the GOAT mastering engineer, Herb Powers.
Yep.
Herb is like the GOAT. I mean, you name it,
The
he
GOAT.
mastered it.
Yep.
You name it, he mastered it. So Herb said something to me that I never forgot. And because we were talking, he was telling all these stories about how he mastered Alicia Keys and how he did Usher and how he did Justin Timberlake. And he's going through all of these great stories. And I'm sitting there listening, and I said, did you know when you were mastering this song or mastering that song or working with this artist or working with that artist from like Mariah Carey or any of those people, did you know the cultural impact that you were bringing in that time? And he said, this is so simple. He said, no, not really. He said, for me, it was just Tuesday, or it was just Monday, or it was Friday and Mariah Carey came in the studio, or it was Thursday and this happened. So I know you've worked, like you said, R. Kelly, everybody. You've written for some of the greatest artists, not just in gospel, but just of our time. Because you, what was that one you did recently? You did during COVID. It was a big artist that you got.
Oh,
I forgot.
Tony Braxton.
Tony Braxton, the Tony Braxton song that you locked in. I mean, you've been able to write and arrange for so many of those. Some of these iconic songs, iconic artists, R. Kelly, all these people like that. Speak to that, a little bit of how, your framework and how you've developed into that area.
Well, I never auditioned for any of that stuff, Mike. I never auditioned for any of it, and I never went after it. I was just being myself, and being myself. When people found me, they found me being my best version of myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it drew people to me. R. Kelly chased me down for probably 6 months before I said yes.
Wow.
Because I just wasn't interested. But my manager at the time, she said to me, have you ever considered the fact that this could be an assignment for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not opportunity, but assignment.
Yeah.
And I never looked at it from that view, but when I looked through it that lens, and started, mulling over it, it made sense. It made sense.
Yeah.
And
so
yes.
there was a story you told me once about how you helped to write I Believe I Can Fly.
Yes, sir.
One of the most iconic
yes, sir.
songs, of course, by R. Kelly, but just iconic songs in general.
Yep.
I was so enamored by that story, and I think most people would be as well. So, can you tell that story a little bit?
First of all, let me just say this. Hats off and much respect to Stevie Wonder.
I know.
Who is coming
I was trying to keep my cool. Like, how do you do it?
How do you do an interview with Stevie Wonder?
How do you do an interview? Look, I gotta stop and pause for the call because I'm fanboying a little bit, and we're gonna add this. I gotta add this in. This is live. This is at Namm. I'm trying to interview Percy Bady and Richard Gibbs, and Stevie Wonder comes by the booth. At the same time.
Pause for the cause.
Pause for the cause.
This is definitely a story that I'm going to tell my kids when I get back to the house. I'm going to be like, yo. So I was trying, how do you make up a joke like that?
Right.
So I'm interviewing Percy Bady and Stevie Wonder comes over.
Right.
How do you do that? So where do we go from here?
So you was asking me about the R. Kelly story.
Yeah. So about R. Kelly.
So about I Believe I Can Fly.
Today I want to introduce to you Loop Elements.
Pro. This represents a very innovative new way of using loops. And guess what? It's standalone not only as a plugin, but it's also standalone outside of the DAW, which means you can now use loop elements in your live performance. This isn't just a plugin. It's the ultimate tool for creatives and producers. Whether you're layering loops, creating click track, creating beats, building arrangements, soundscapes, Loop Elements Pro gives you the power to create without limits. Loop Elements Pro is now available. Go get it now.
So I Believe I Can Fly actually came about in a hotel lobby in Detroit, man. We were on tour. We were finishing up the first leg of the tour. And Rob never told me that he was working on this record for Space Jam, the movie.
Right.
I actually never knew that's what it was for. So he calls me that night after I had went up to the room, went to bed, wakes me up and says, "Hey man, I'm down in the lobby. I got an idea for a song. I need your help."
Wow.
So I go down in the lobby, and all he had was the first part of the song, man.
I
You
know.
Yeah. That's all he had, right?
Okay.
Now I know the meaning of love, lean it over everlasting love. That's all he had.
Wow.
So I came down and went to the 3/7. And
I
5
can
and
see.
6, right?
Wow.
And the rest of it kind of just came together from there, man. And I'll never forget the song because from there we went to Chicago and it was a 6-day session
Okay.
trying to complete the song because Atlantic Records was waiting
Yeah.
on the song.
Yeah.
And so literally I slept in the studio. Might have gotten about 5 hours of sleep in 6 days because we had to get it done. I had to went back to Chicago, then go back to Detroit to work with Paul Reiser, who did the orchestra. You know, so it was crazy.
So were you sleeping on the plane? What are you doing?
I was sleeping wherever I could sleep.
Wherever you could
man.
sleep.
I almost
Power
missed
nap.
my plane flying back to Chicago because I was so tired. So it was a whirlwind work. We cut the choir in 2 nights.
Yeah.
And
that's you on the music video, the original
That's-
music video,
yeah,
on the
all of-
section where the choir comes
Yeah.
in, directing the choir.
All of
you
that.
Just icon, man.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Icon. It's
Yep.
so crazy. And then I don't want to leave you out, Dr. Gibbs, because I mean, touring with the Queen of Soul for 20 years, that's a very significant accomplishment. So can you speak to that a little bit? How did that come about and how did that situation work?
That came about from a family friend of ours, Scott Billy Always, who's an artist.
Yeah.
And he's a friend of the family. So I was in New Orleans with Percy, cutting
Paul Morton.
Paul Morton's
Right.
Bow Down.
Bow Down.
We're doing that right
Full
now.
gospel. Full gospel.
Full gospel.
Wait. We don't want to gloss on that. So wait. So y'all in Atlanta or New Orleans,
New Orleans, yeah.
cutting
Bow Down.
Bow Down and Worship.
And
then you get a call to go play.
my mom called me, and she was like, "Aretha wants you to play for us." So I was like, "Mom, this is long distance. Come on, that ain't."
That's before
funny.
free nights and weekends.
Yeah, I was like, "That ain't even funny." She was like, "I'm not trying to be funny." And if you knew my mom, she said, "I'm not trying to be funny."
And she knew
the way she said it. So,
in her words.
In her words, she had some words. But long story short, the following Saturday, I was in Miss Franklin's living room.
Yeah.
And she was doing a gospel concert in New York with the Amazing Grace album. So I grew up on that music. Mom wrote on the album, so
wow.
I knew the album backwards and forwards. So every song she called, it went well. Halfway through the audition, she asked me if I'd ever played secular. I said no. She was like, okay. Finished the rehearsal.
Yeah.
She said, come on back in the kitchen.
Wow.
And she said, here's your first 12 dates. Get you 2 tuxedos. This is what you're going to make. I'll see you in New York. And I walked out of her kitchen, and Tamita Hadden was singing background. So I walked out of the kitchen. I was like, man, I must be going to die. So she was like, no, she said the blessings of the Lord make you rich, and it goes so. And so from that point, it was 20 years.
20 years touring with them.
Yeah, man. And
So what are some key? So being in that scene and doing that for 20 years, what are some things that you learned and that if you're talking to the younger generation, this generation that's out there and they're doing tour life, what are those things those pieces of advice that you can give those who are either already in that space, or are trying to get into that space? What did you learn? What did you learn from those 20 years?
What I learned and what I would tell them is, try to always bring the clean channels, clean tempo to it. Don't bring your junk to the job.
Yeah.
Be open and be on time. Know that somebody's always watching you. So just because you're in New York for 2 or 3 days, you got off days, that don't mean go wow out. Because you represent yourself, you represent what you work for.
Yeah.
And I would just say be prepared, be on time, put in the work.
Yeah.
Don't fluff it. Put in the work.
So what is that post-tour life like now? Like, after coming out of that, I know that there's a lot of people that fall into holes after, not HOLES.
Right.
You gotta be that country accent to take me out.
Right.
Holes.
Right.
We don't want people to fall into the other, the other hell. We want them to fall into holes. And from everything from finances to because I've heard those stories about people that they went on tour. The tour money is good, but they didn't invest it, or they didn't save it, or they didn't do those things. And then now that that gig is ended, or the call is over, and now they're destitute. Right. So what have you learned about that aspect? Because I think that's an important thing that a lot of young musicians that are in this game don't really know, because that's good, quick, fast money.
It's good, quick, fast money. But what I would say, of course, save your money, save as much of your money as you can, and just have good discipline. Because that same good discipline will take you into whatever your next looks like.
Yeah.
And pray. Just don't think you're doing it on your own. And just stay centered, stay focused, keep honing your craft. Don't ever get lazy where, okay, I'm good, I just came off tour, I'm amazing. It's not that, because there's always somebody in a basement somewhere that's on your heels.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's a competition, but it's a gift.
Yeah.
You have to treat it like that and appreciate it. So I would just say, save your money.
Bottom line, save and invest.
That part.
I love that. So Percy, back to you, because world of wisdom, world of advice that you have given me over the years, and I know you always willing to pour out into other young creatives, musicians, producers, songwriters. I mean, you got the whole songwriter camps and things that you do and all of those things like that to pour back into that community. What are those same, just similar to what I asked, Dr. Richard, what are those same pieces of advice, those same pieces of, ebbs and flows that you're talking to that younger generation? They're the young, hungry songwriters, the young, hungry producers, the young, hungry creatives that are trying to get in this game, trying to network. They want to work with artists at the caliber of, Tony Braxton and the R. Kellys. And I know that's different even from working with the gospel artists, the young Londa Adams and the Milk Brunses and all of the people like that. You walk those lines really, really well. So what are those key pieces that they need to know? What are those building blocks that musicians in this age need to know?
Well, I think I echo what my brother Richard said, but I would also add, know who you are before you jump into it. Because if you don't, it will define who you are for you.
Woo!
True. So, yes, for instance, if you're not sure about, who you are in the marketplace, how you want to sound, how you want your creative whatever to be viewed, if you haven't identified it, what you end up finding yourself doing is what you see everybody else doing.
Yeah.
Which may not be necessarily for you, and it may not define who you really are. So I always say, man, know who you are before you tap in, right? Then stay focused on that and be the best version of that you can be. One of the things, if you're a musician, for instance, You know, one of the best things any musician could do is to pay attention to playing. When you're playing other people's music, you play it the way it sounds. It's supposed to sound.
Yeah.
You know, because an artist wants to hear their music the way it was recorded.
So good.
You know, and it's okay that you know all the little tricks and all the little licks and all of that. That's fine. But those people don't work often. They're at home. Because they're at home, and they're at home only because they haven't learned to serve the song.
That's so good.
You know, what does the music require of me? It's not about me trying to show you who I am and how I can play and how great I am. It's really about serving the song. Like, I'm not the greatest player in the world, but I've worked with some of everybody in the world because of my humility and my willingness to become a servant to the song and play the music the way that the artist wants it to be played. You know, it's nothing like an artist getting up to sing their song and the intro comes on and they don't even recognize the song.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's a bad thing. So I would say that. The other thing is that everybody else's business is not your business. You know, learn to focus on what your business is and to keep your things in line and let everybody else take care of whatever they need to take care of, because at the end of the day, never forget this, man, association will either elevate you or will tear you down.
That's good.
So you got to make sure you're associating with the right group of people, that you're surrounded by the right group of people. You know, musicians are a dime a dozen, let's be honest. There's a bunch of them. This room, these halls, it's full of musicians.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you have to determine what makes me different from everybody else that's in this building.
That's good.
What is it about me that makes me stand out? And it's, again, like Richard said, it's not competition, but it's about being the best version of yourself. And if you don't measure yourself against something, you don't know where you are, right?
Right.
If you're the only person that's measuring yourself, you're measuring yourself against you, you're done already.
Wow.
You're done. You're done before you get started. So it's always about finding something you can measure yourself. Where's the bar for me? The bar was just right there for me.
Yeah, Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder's the bar.
That's a bar.
He was just right there.
That's a big bar.
Stevie is the bar for me.
Yeah.
Stevie, he's the bar. What's up, brothers? Stevie is the bar. Why is he the bar? Because he set a precedence.
Yeah.
He set a level of standard. His presentation, his songwriting, his production. He set a bar that I believe, man, at the end of the day, will always be there. I mean, look at him. You know, Stevie's 70 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And still walking around here in Namm, still trying to set and raise the bar.
That's so good.
Yep.
And that's the other part. You know, never think, like Richard said, never think you've arrived.
Right.
Because there's some kid somewhere right now in a basement somewhere who's studying, who's practicing.
Yeah.
You know, and some of them you've seen them around. That little kid, Julian.
Man,
that little kid Julian, him and his sister and his dad.
Yeah.
Oh, Justin.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know you're talking about Justin. Yeah.
Situation.
Out of nowhere. He's a problem.
A big one.
He's a big problem. But again, being himself, his dad putting him around the right situation, making sure that he's cultivated in a way that he grows musically. Good. So I would just encourage that, man. I know that's a long answer, but
no, that's good word. That's good Bible, as we would say. No, that's good. No, I love that. I was doing a podcast with Kenny Leonard.
Oh yeah.
You know, I was doing a podcast with Kenny, and he was talking about when he was touring with the Hamiltons, Anthony and them, Hamilton, when he was with them, and he said how he was on a cruise. They was on a cruise tour, and they was on a cruise. And he said, you know, it was his first time out, and he's like, I'm about to eat, I'm about to, like, you know. So I think they were doing whatever song. He said he went in and did all his fancy chords and did all this stuff like that. He said before the lights dropped, he said Anthony was in his face like, bro, hey, don't do that, don't do that, don't do it. You mess me up when you do that. So that's the truth to what you're saying about that, and just being authentic and being yourself. I love those key points that you put in there, and I think that's wisdom
for anyone who's trying to get into this game and trying to network and want to work with the big artists, work with the good things or whatever. Now, we've talked a lot. Now, there's a group of people that are here live with us, and so we're here with two legends, two icons. I put them in both categories. So I want to defer to anybody out there who might have, because we got a few more minutes left, that might have a question for any of these two icons. Anybody got anything that they want to kind of add, or a question that they want to ask to either Dr. Percy or Dr. Gibbs? No questions, they answered all y'all questions? Anybody got? Just want to make sure. You got something? You have something you want to say? Okay, hold on one second.
How you doing?
Doing great.
For you two legends, how do you stay relevant as you go through the decades? Because both of you have been in this game for no less than 4 decades, 5 decades, right? How do you stay relevant as the music changes and as things change?
So how do you stay relevant? Who wants to take it first?
For me, I think one of the things I do is I'm always listening to everybody and to everything. That's one of the things. But one of the main things is I keep young people around me. I keep young people around whose ears are in places that my ears are not, so I can be informed and fairly informed about what's happening, what's going on. I'm not afraid of technology. I'm not afraid of anybody that knows more than I know. As a matter of fact, I want to be in rooms with people who know more than me. And I think it's the best way to really grow. I think it's the best way to stay relevant. So for me, that's what it is.
That's good.
Piggyback on what he said, definitely keeping young people around. And for me, I feel like I'm just blessed because there's a lot of young producers that will call me, and I love taking a challenge. I know it's a lot of music now that's got a lot of movement and a lot of that, but I love the challenge, and I love jumping in with them. And the more I do it, it just kind of helps you keep up.
That's so good.
The unafraid.
That's good. That's good. My dad had a saying. He said, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're pretty dumb.
In the wrong room.
No, he said, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're pretty dumb. So
Yeah.
I think that's a good piece of advice. Anyone else got okay? I guess we about to.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, we at the last one. This will be the last question.
I have a question. My son's he's like a prodigy on the drums. I think I showed John a video of him earlier. How do you set your children up for success when you can see the future is really bright?
How do you set your children up for success when you see the future is bright? I think one of the first things you got to do is, if you're not musically versed yourself,
I am.
okay, so then you be truthful with them.
Yes, sir.
Don't make them believe that they're the best thing since Campbell soup. Always keep them in a place where they're humble, because a lot of musicians who were very, very talented have suffered because they did not have the right mentorship. They didn't have the right people around them encouraging them in the right direction. So they eventually became these big, arrogant, whatever, and nobody wants to be around you when you're that way. So that's one of the first things. The second thing is always tell them to study the best. Who is the best? Who's the bar? Who's the bar? Because when you do that, you realize I still got a little ways to go.
Yeah.
I still got some places I can grow in. So, what about you, Rich? What you think?
Funny you mentioned that. My son, he's
His son is a beast.
He's growing up and he's playing, and he reads, he has the gift, he's a perfect pitch. But what I try to tell him, because he's hands-on and he's playing already, I try to tell him, don't worry about the fluff, learn the song.
Okay.
Learn the song, don't worry about the big intro and the drum machine, because that's not what people are looking for. People that have to sing to you playing, they want you to move when they move. They want you to know the song. So I tell them that, and I just, the same as Percy said, don't get the big head. Don't be in a room and feel like, well, I'm better than him. Because, as I said before, it's not a competition. You be your best version of yourself, and always striving to build and be better. So that's my experience.
Thank you.
It doesn't get any better than that. That's super dope. I just got the notification that we need to wrap. So from Miss Lori. So this has been amazing. I appreciate all you guys that showed up for us live. Y'all give it up for my guests, Dr. Percy Bady and Dr. Richard Gibbs. They are amazing icons, and it's a pleasure to be on the stage with these guys. And so I'm excited. So if they want to connect with you, Percy, where do they need to connect with you at, and how do they get a hold of you to tap in with you?
You can just find me on IG, the official Percy Bady. The official Percy Bady. I'm gonna say this real quick, and I'm gonna give Richard Mike. But this booth should have been packed. The kind of information that we've been sharing. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. 90% of the people at this show need this information, but they don't know it because they think they've arrived already. And the unfortunate thing, and this is not to be a killer, this is not to be a Debbie Downer, but this is just to be a realist.
Yeah.
In our industry is suffering for the lack of knowledge. People not being told the right things, how to survive, how to survive in a world that has drastically changed from tangible products to streaming. Most of you don't even understand really what that means. How many of you know how much one stream pays you? How many understands what it takes to make $4,000 in a stream? You sell 1 million records back in the day, that was $90,000 if you had one song. But nowadays, that's only $4,000. So you got to get the real information. You want real information. You don't want this facade. So that's what I'm gonna say.
God has spoken. Let the church say amen. And how do they connect with you?
Get me on IG at Rich Gibbs Jr.
Awesome. Well, shout out to Warm Audio for allowing us this space to do this amazing Hangout podcast live out here at the 2025 Namm show. I'm your boy John Mike. It has been a pleasure to hang out with you guys, and I'm gonna talk to you guys on the next one. I'm out. Holla at your boy.
Yo, thank you for watching that exclusive clip from the Hangout Podcast. We drop these on the channel on Wednesdays, and we appreciate you guys for taking out the time and watching this. If you're interested in seeing more of these exclusive interviews that we have, make sure you check out the playlist over here. If you're interested in taking your production, mixing, or whatever to the next level, make sure you hit the links down below in the description. All right, we'll talk to you guys on the next one. I'm out. Holla at your boy.